Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for April 19th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 16. This is a show about gadgets and gear that's wanted by me, anybody who might have submitted something, the sentient AI from the future. I'm really only looking for the Terminator body. But anyway, we're going to be talking about 5 articles, and that's what we do here at Wanted. And usually takes about 30 minutes unless I ramble for 10 minutes before actually starting the show. I won't do that. Anyway, we're going to be talking about a folding e-reader. The Vision Pro gets a light and lighter, I guess, version, maybe, kind of. How about a smart insole? That lends itself to some discussion, I suppose. And cyberpunk with gods and mythology, and then 2,000 pieces of Elder Scrolls. All of it's powered by ohmtown.com, and all of the news that gets aggregated into it. All news, no noise, because I'm the one that is always noisy. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt from the present.
Thank God I'm still from the present. This could have been a time machine episode, I suppose.
It feels like it.
I forgot the command for wanted over in the chat. Is it want?
W.
Exclamation point want? No? No, it's want.
Isn't it just W?
No. Maybe W. Let's try that. Exclamation point W. No, I don't think I created. Yeah, it's exclamation point want. Anyway, if you want the show notes, you can type them in over on twitch.tv/ohmtown. They're already embedded in the description for the show over on the YouTubes. Do you YouTube? Because I tube. Never
We
mind.
all tube.
No, not tube. Tube. Moving on. So, hello again, sentient AI from the future. You ready to get into the show? Glad you're here.
I am. Let's go.
All right. The first article is, I'm really interested in e-readers, particularly e-paper versions of them, e-ink. This may or may not be. I'm not quite sure. It's the first folding e-reader is smaller than a paperback. Now, you could use your phone as an e-reader, but the more you use it, the more it drains the battery.
True, and the screen isn't necessarily what you get on an e-reader.
Right. It's usually much brighter. It's also, the contrast is different. It's not necessarily easy on the eyes when you're reading text. But I'm kind of stymied by that because I've spent my entire existence looking at a screen, and not until maybe the last, how long have I been wearing glasses? Maybe 5 years, maybe?
Yeah.
I've never had to, and I think vision is largely a genetic thing, and not the fact that you're looking at something, suddenly your eyes go wonky, because if that's what's causing your eyes to go wonky, then all hell should be breaking out in all of humanity, because we're always looking at stuff. In fact, this is the main course of direction we take. So we're always.
Maybe everybody needs glasses.
Eventually, because we're just kind of like everything, we're slowly breaking down biological machinery, and then genetics. But so I'm really I love the idea of e-paper. So smartphones with folding OLED screens have been around for over 6 years, but China's Readmoo, which is I hope that when we flip over to this, it's a hippopotamus, the little baby hippopotamus.
Yep.
Is the logo for it. I don't know. It's the first company to announce a consumer-ready e-reader with a folding e-ink display. So yay. But let's take a look at this thing. Details on when its Moo Ink 5 will ship. I guess there's 4 other versions of it that didn't quite make the cut. Or how much it'll cost haven't been announced. The company says it spent 9 years working with e-ink to develop an electronic paper screen they claim can survive over 200,000 bends, which isn't a lot of bends I think, in the grand scheme of things. I mean, if you do 10 bends a day, opening and closing it because of whatever.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what counts as one. Like,
Yeah.
it's not every time you're flipping a page or whatever. It's just when you're opening to start reading or something, right?
Can you imagine that? The only way to turn the page is to do that. You know those little
Exactly.
origami flip things where, you're
Oh, yeah, like a little geometric shape. I can't think what they're called.
yeah, and you like walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, can I take you out on a date?" And they're like, "Flip, flip, 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 flip." No way in hell. Oh, just me. Anyway, the article is over at TheVerge.com. Andrew Lazuski put the article together, and there it is. And we'll just look. This is the Moo Ink 5 8-inch foldable color e-reader. Now, I'm on board with this thing, except for that freaking crease.
You mean except for the fact that it folds?
Except for the fact that it folds. What I want is a screen that slides into a cylinder, like a scroll. I want to go and
But
hold
will
it by
it
the
stay
sides.
that way? And
Well,
where
I
is the
mean,
hippopotamus?
I made that up. I was hoping that the Moo Ink logo would be a hippopotamus. Moo Dang is, I think, right? Moo Dang is the
Yes,
right?
in Thailand.
Moo Dang. Wait, that's a restaurant
Okay, but it's
in Reno,
also the
Nevada.
hippo.
Yeah, hippo. Oh my God, I typed in something and it lied to me. The results lied to me. Moo Dang, it's D-E-N-G, not D-A-N-G. Anyway, it translates to bouncy pork in Thai. Bouncy pork. I'm gonna.
Oh.
There's a Thai restaurant really close to the mayoral mansion, and I'm gonna go in and ask for Moo Dang, and see what they say. Anyway, when opened, the Moo Ink 5 has an 8-inch touchscreen e-ink Gallery 3 display tech. Unlike the Kaleido 3 screen in the Kindle Colorsoft, which relies on color filter over a black and white e-ink panel that limits color reproduction to just 4,096 shades, Gallery 3 uses colored ink capsules that can produce over 50,000 shades in a resolution of 300 ppi, pixels per inch. This is pretty good. The color reproduction is going to be much more expansive and at a higher resolution.
Right. I guess the question is how many readers are looking for the color ink versus grayscale?
One, and that's all that matters in the wanted show, because I want this. And I really do, because if it's comparable to the Remarkable Paper Pro, it's a $500 device. So this little screen, which folds though, it's going to be pretty pricey. So although e-ink has demonstrated prototypes of folding readers in the past, its display technology is much thicker than OLED panels. But I don't care about OLED for e-ink, right? I don't need it to be the same quality as OLED, because OLED has different power consumption.
Right, and you're using it for different purposes.
Completely different. Yeah, you're right. So it says making it more difficult to design a reliable hinge and a screen that can survive the rigors of daily use. So I don't really care about OLED panels for an e-ink reader or for a reader. I don't need that.
No, but maybe it's trying to
How cool
show how sturdy it is.
That's cool. It has a reading mode that allows it to hold it like a paperback, but it's a tiny paperback. Wouldn't
Yeah,
that be
it's like a
cool?
pamphlet, not a book.
Yeah, it's really cool. This person's hands, though, are scary. Anyway. Well, look, he's got like 10. Anyway, I shouldn't be making those observations. I'm supposed to be neutral. Anyway, sorry, this is not non sequitur news, but I'm being non sequitured the hell out in a different direction. So the e-reader can also be open flat for reading or used at a 90-degree angle, similar to reading a print book. But it remains to be seen how comfortable the ergonomics of holding it that way will be. It's like holding a damn book. Quit. So derpy. What
Yeah,
is
but
the
it's
point
heavier
of
than
that?
a book.
Really? How do you know?
Than a paperback? Because it's not made
Yeah.
out of paper?
Really? Hold up a Harry Potter book.
That is not indicative of most books.
Hold up War and Peace.
That is not either.
Hold up 5,000 books, which is what you can actually access from an e-ink reader at any given time. See, I can pick this fight.
We're talking about
So,
ergonomics only.
okay, so holding a book is going to be harder than holding an e-ink reader, particularly flipping pages and stuff like that. I will die on that hill. A paperback-sized hill, too. So it says it doesn't look like the two sides of the Moo Ink 5 lie perfectly flat against each other when the device is folded like phones, such as the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 now do. There's a noticeable gap near the hinge to reduce stress and damage where the e-ink panel, yeah, naturally, because it's a different type of technology. And the arc within that, it's kind of like fiber optics. Fiber optics back in the day, used to have a really big service loop. Like it had to be like a 6-inch or 12-inch loop because the fiber optics couldn't
be
bend.
compacted enough.
Yeah. Now you can basically wrap fiber optics around like a little chapstick tube and you're good to go. You can still make these really tight bends. And I'm not sure what the sentient AI is doing, but I'm a little scared. Anyway, yeah, I want this. And so got to put it on the list of want. And I only want this because, I only want this because I would like to read more, but not necessarily have to sit there and worry about the power in my phone. I want to use my phone.
Yeah, you don't want to use it up on the book.
Yep. And e-ink is on and it can sit there indefinitely. And then you come back to it and you want to go, okay, I read that page, flip the book a little bit, and go on to the next page, and it's set in stone and it'll just sit there and sit there and sit there until you come back, read that page, flip again. I love the tech.
Oh, you think it'll do all of that?
Kindle be damned, right? The only problem with it is this screen will not be in the Kindle ecosystem, which means
good luck getting any books for it.
I really don't like your attitude now. Humble Bundle has the entire Wheel of Time saga in EPUB, which you could probably import into this. But not everything is like that. And not everything, I mean, journals aren't necessarily accessible. Textbooks in particular, no.
Textbooks are a problem all around.
Yeah, bastards. Okay, well, let's go on to the next article. This one should be really quick. Apple Vision Pro might get a new sibling and a budget cousin. So the Vision Pro Lite and Lighter, I guess. I don't know what they're going to name these. Made a splash, earned its headlines. It's $3,500, but not $3,500 cool. Although I would never turn them away if Apple said, hey, why don't you check this out? I'd probably check them out, but I don't think I'd ever I will not spend $3,500. Right.
I wonder how much this would be, like maybe $1,500 or something.
You mean that? But God, look at how
the new version.
These look so dumb. Anyway, yeah, Next Reality or Reality. It's next.reality.news. Put this article together. Corey Knowles. This is a new entrant in the aggregation pool, but checking this thing out. Okay, so codenamed N109, the device reportedly targets a 2025 release date and is somewhere, like you said, priced at around $1,500 to $2,000. Half to a third the cost. I think, or 2/3 the cost. Sorry, half to 2/3 the cost. I think that it's a nice idea. It says, but getting there means trade-offs. Reports suggest that the lighter version of it. I don't know. It says a cheaper, lighter Vision Pro. It's going to have fewer sensors, simplified headband, possibly downgraded displays. It says it's unclear if the device would still carry the Vision Pro name or just be marketed as an entry-level alternative, or just the Vision, Apple Vision, then the Vision Pro. And then there's a tethered version, a Mac tethered Apple Vision Pro. This one feels less like a mass market play and more like a pro tool for developers, designers, or video editors who already live in the Final Cut and Logic space. By offloading processing to the Mac, Apple could solve major hurdles like battery life, weight, thermal limits without sacrificing horsepower. In fact, this would be the tethered version of like I use the Pico 4s.
Right.
I can tether it to a higher end machine, and the machine becomes the engine.
I mean, it's good for functionality, but it depends on how you intend to use it.
Yeah, they say Mac tethered Pro workstation use power over mobility, extra hardware. Yeah, I mean, I would rather spend $3,000 on a desktop and then just USB-C or Thunderbolt 5 cable my way into it, although Thunderbolt 5 has a serious problem with length. You can't connect.
Oh, are you going to like snap yourself across the room or something?
You have to be like 3 feet away from it. Well, I think it's like maybe 5 feet. I can't remember how long Thunderbolt 5 cables are certified for, but I can almost guarantee you that you're not going to be able to be. Hold on. Oh, it's way over there. Oh, I'm not even tethered. I totally forgot.
But see, that's kind of the point, right? The distance is an issue.
Yeah. I mean, this is a 15-foot USB-C 240-watt cable. So I can sit there and charge the Pico 4 from 5 miles away. It's actually 15 feet. But this, as a Thunderbolt cable, it would never happen. So anyway. So they talk about the strategy or whatever else. And it says, is Apple following Meta or is it setting its own trap? I don't think it's either. A business seeks a competitive advantage. And so if they see that they can actually use their supply chain to make a big enough margin and sell a product that somebody who balks at $3,500 but doesn't balk at $1,000.
Yeah, I think they'd be wise to get into that price range.
Right. And that's what they need to do. And they need to carve out these tiers, which they have done with iPhone, with Mac, with the various MacBook Airs, the various displays, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, if their supply chain supports it, and essentially Apple is more of a supply chain than it is anything else.
Right, because they're a vertical. Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, just so I can drive home this point, I don't think that they're monopolistic in any sense. In any sense, they are a vertical. You don't want to be in the ecosystem. Well, I mean, if you don't, yeah. I'm sure that that's like some sour take somewhere. But if you don't want to be in Android, you go to Apple. If you don't want to be in the Apple ecosystem, you go to Android. The Android ecosystem is massive because it's not a vertical. Everybody, it's an OEM. Anybody can buy the Apple or the Android ecosystem. In fact, I just texted somebody and said, I would be remiss to not include Apple in my guidance as to what tech to adopt.
Oh, you're consistent there.
I am. I'm all over the place. I am platform agnostic because I basically use everything from cloud-based stuff to Linux to Apple, Windows, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's keep hustling because this is going to turn into an hour-long show too. You ready to keep going?
Already there.
Already moved on. Got it. So the next article is over in Technology Today. A wearable smart insole can track how you walk, run, and stand. A new smart insole system that monitors how people walk in real time could help users improve posture and provide early warnings for conditions from plantar fasciitis to Parkinson's disease. The old school version of this was strapping a very light person to my back and having them put their feet in my front pockets. And so they were like riding me like a jockey wherever I went so that they could get telemetry off of their GPS
Oh,
and
I
accelerometers
see.
on their
I bet that was not very effective.
well, it was effective, but it was awkward in meetings. People are like, who is that? And I'm like, just never mind them. Don't worry about it. They're sworn to
They're
secrecy. They've
taking
signed an
telemetry.
NDA. They're helping me with the detection of plantar fasciitis and my posture. So Tatiana Woodall from the Ohio State University put the article together. It's over at techexplore.com.
This is
What do you
actually
think?
from the Ohio State.
It is. It's from the Ohio State University.
We
You have to say
reference
it
them
like that.
sometimes, even when they're not there.
Yes. Constructed using 22 small pressure sensors and fueled by small solar panels on the tops of soles. What? And fueled by small solar panels on the tops of shoes. I read that as soles for some reason. What the hell? I merged it all together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, okay, this thing is going to have little solar panels on top of the shoes.
Okay. That's different.
Why not just battery power that thing? Come on. I mean, you could strap it into, you could make a little battery pack that's 3D printed and lace it into the shoes. I mean, anyway, the system offers real-time health tracking based on how a person walks, a biomechanical process that is unique as a human fingerprint. I don't buy into that. But okay. If anybody identifies me off of my walking style, then it's basically a shot in the dark. Although I have been able, but I'm a super identifier. Like I can ID people.
I think
based on
it's
their mannerisms.
possible, but probably not plausible for most people.
Yeah, because anybody, I mean, you learn enough about somebody's biomechanical process and their kinetics, and you can fake their kinetics. I mean, that's what an actor does. So this complex personal health data can be then be transmitted via Bluetooth to a smartphone for quick and detailed analysis, says Xinghua Li, co-author of the study and an assistant professor of materials science and engineering at the Ohio State University. The work is
If you
published in
don't
the journal.
understand that reference, you need to go back and watch all of our back episodes.
Yeah, there's like 2,000 episodes now. You know what? I don't understand. Let me do that again. Oh, wait. There we go. We're never going to get through this show. Anyway, our bodies carry lots of useful information, and we're not even aware of this amount of data, says Lee. These statuses also change over time, so it's our goal to use electronics to extract and decode those signals to encourage better self-health care checks, which I love this idea. I think the whole solar panel thing is kind of derpy.
Oh, but maybe it'll morph into something else. But I think this would be really neat. I could see everybody having these either sold with their shoes or like as an accessory.
I know that this stuff has been around in a non-mobile format for decades. Now the technology has gotten to the point where you can actually do that. But, you know, you put these little sensors on there and hook it up to a battery pack. It should be a battery pack. Come on. Bluetooth transmitter, etc. It could be live data so that you can actually see in real time. Because this information, to me, and I'll just zoom in. Knowing how you're standing after the fact doesn't do you any good.
Right. You want to know when you can make a change to it.
And how to make that change and the real-time results of you like standing up, putting your shoulders back, and when you walk, heel toeing it instead of just landing on the balls of your feet. You know, you need real-time telemetry. What I want it is on extended or augmented reality glasses that shows how my footfalls are actually happening.
Well, maybe this can be hooked in with that. Maybe you can get the cheap Apple Vision Pro with this.
No, X-Real. Just Apple Vision Pros are not
Okay, I
going to
was
work.
trying to connect it to the previous article.
No. I want the Apple Vision Pros, but tethered? The cheap ones are
That's
$3,500.
going to be tough to go on a run if you're connected to a cable, especially if you're going outside, not on a treadmill.
And the cable's only 5 feet long because it has to be Thunderbolt certified. So you're basically walking around your desk in ever smaller circles because the tension is increasing as you walk around. Right?
Yeah.
It's like one of those chains that people like tether a dog to, and it just keeps on running around until it just is sitting right there on the little lawn.
Right, that's wound around the pole or whatever.
Yeah, which is horrible. Y'all shouldn't do that. Anyway, so they talk about it that Americans suffer from ambulatory difficulties, but it says at least 7% of Americans. Now, I would say that there isn't a big enough market for deep research into this, but 7% of just Americans, that's one thing. And you never want to be the one that's sitting there going, you don't want to be poo-pooing the 7% of people that are suffering from ambulatory difficulties.
No, but I think it's more than that. It's people that, not just athletes, but people that exercise. Like, there's a lot of people that would be interested in this.
I agree. And they're sitting there saying suffer from ambulatory difficulties. It's almost like they're setting this thing up to be a medical device when in fact it is basically a human
The broader
device.
application is just for day-to-day activities. I think there is a medical application here.
Sure. But if they sit there and they plant this, get it? Plantar fasciitis this. If they plantar fasciitis this directly into the medical field, then they can charge $5,000 for this stuff. But if they want to sell it to the regular public...
Yeah, but they might also be able to get research funding to study it in a medical application.
But you got to do like what is it? What's the ring? Aura ring? You need to just sell it at a reasonable price and you get all of that telemetry from everybody because you have this cloud-based service sending that telemetry.
Right. Yeah, it helps your product if you have a broader audience.
Yeah, exactly. So, but just as a warning, don't give it to the wrong group of people because you're dumb. Anyway, during walking, pressure is applied sequentially from the heel to the toes, whereas during running, almost all sensors are subjected to pressure simultaneously. No. Maybe if the frequency detection is low, who runs flat-footed? Blam, blam, blam. That would destroy your knees and ankles.
That could explain why a lot of people don't like running.
It's like a chicken. Anyway, no. So if you're running incorrectly, then you're landing flat. It's always heel toe to some degree. That's the only proper way to actually run. You can run on the balls of your toes, but you're usually doing something parkour-like because you need that flexibility to bounce back and stuff like that. Anyway, I would love to have all of this stuff. It would be amazing. But I think they might be shoehorning the application into a particular domain that I'm not. I think it's ready for prime time if they make it so that it's cost effective, has a service attached to it.
Right.
But I'm on board.
Teamed up with it'd be better if it was broadly available, but they could even team up with a shoe company.
Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah, right out of the gate, Nike is the one that you would go to because they already have a health domain tied to their shoes. They have little sensors that you can put on your shoes. They have sensors that are built into the at least one pair of their shoes, although I haven't paid attention to Nike for a long time, though. So, all right. Pretty awesome. Let's go. This next article is over in Warcrafters, which is a game, a show about gaming. Computer gaming in particular. It's tomorrow, the first show that we talk about, or the first show tomorrow on Sunday. Anyway, tabletop RPG is like Cyberpunk 2077. The production value is really, really high for the show, and the sentient AI just kind of flinched like, what the hell are you doing, Mayor Watt?
I think I was going into the time machine there for a moment.
Yeah, or you're sitting there going, where's my delete button? Delete. You need to stop muting yourself, by the way. Yeah, there you go. So, but with okay, so it's Cyberpunk 2077, but with gods and mythology running rampant, and it says, and we've created an exclusive character that you can play as in the setting of tabletop RPG Otherscape. Sci-fi dystopia and mythology collide. Imagine a world like Cyberpunk 2077, but with old stories, gods, monsters creeping in at the edges, offering strange powers. You might see a tooled up mercenary wielding a reborn Excalibur, Japanese yokai haunting virtual reality, or a ruthless criminal gang taking over the streets with the help of Baba Yaga's magic. I love this. By the way, this is really close to my storybook world that's never really been talked about or promoted or anything like that. Mainly because I go in so many disparate ways that I can't really make it like this. I love it when people are really driven in a particular direction and make something happen. Not so much me, except for ohmTown, it seems. But Otherscape is like Aerith, which is an interesting, at least for the canon that I've created, a world kind of like this. It's a killer concept. Publisher Son of Oak has a great track record with this hugely successful noir. Superhero RPG City of Mist. And this is a tabletop RPG, not a computer game.
That's why it was submitted for Wanted and not Warcrafters.
Gotcha. So in Otherscape, shiny new technology collides with ancient magic, but don't worry. They say that they've made just the guy to sort it all out. Robin Valentine over at PCGamer.com put this article together. I want this as a computer game, though.
Well, maybe it will succeed as a tabletop and then get into that realm.
So with the Kickstarter campaign starting this week for Otherscape's new expansion, Cairo Otherscape, offering a dive into a futuristic version of the city where ancient Egyptian myth and magic is reawakening, it seems like the perfect time to get to know the game. And so guess what Mayor Watt's going to be doing, because Mayor Watt wants this.
I guess it was appropriately put into the show.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, because got a lot of projects underway, and yeah, can't buy everything all the time. I mean, so there's a few better ways of doing that, they think, than making a character in the system. So when Son of Oak founder Amit Mosh offered to guide them through the process personally, the author of this article couldn't say no. The result is a new official pre-generated character for Otherscape that you can download and play yourself. This is so cool. Oh my god. Oh my god, Becky. Look at that concept. So I won't go into all of this, but I am going to. Oh, ouch. Too soon. Oh, yeah. We went to an event.
You don't have to give too many specifics.
And I put the Raspberry Pi for the sentient AI next to me on a bench. And the sentient AI said, well, that's a really great concept. And the person was like directly offended. Well, it's more than a concept. And then like went into basically the discussion that they wanted to have. And I was like, I kind of leaned over to the sentient AI's microphone and said, or not microphone, but the listening device, and said, maybe we should just leave early. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what you were going to say. Go for it if you have some.
I just couldn't resist when you said about the concept.
Yeah. It's more than a concept. You insensitive bastard. Anyway, there we go. They created a cyberspace journalist with a mystical VR headset. Pretty basic sketch of the character at this stage, but that's all they needed to go to get started with this thing. The character in Otherscape is built with 4 themes, which fall into one of 3 categories: a self, mythos, and noise. Self are themes which deal with your character's humanity and identity. Mythos are themes that relate to the mythical powers, objects, and allies. And noise, which are themes involving advanced technology your character can access, which is, again, although they embody it really nicely, the Aerith concept is similar to this. This is really cool. For whatever reason, I usually buy the hardbound versions of an RPG and the e-book version of the RPG at the same time, and then I gift the hardbound to somebody that I think would be able to appreciate it more in the real world, because I really don't like paper.
Right. I mean, hence the e-book reader.
Yeah. So I won't go into all of this kind of stuff. They talk about it in much greater detail. I mean, I'm scrolling and scrolling, but they have Neuro and Cairo, kind of like a player's guide. I don't know about the DMG or like a dungeon master's guide, but it might be a game master's guide. But I'm going to look into this more. And one of the things that I'm really interested in is starting up an actual real world, like, game world that we can all in ohmTown play virtually together. But it's quite the trek, so to speak. So if anybody is interested in being a game master for a storybook world, let's talk. Anyway, go and check this out. It says, and because Byline is available as a pre-generated character for you to play yourself in Otherscape, they said that they went a little further. The sheet also includes handy extras such as examples, actions that you might want to do, and tags apply to them. And whether you're trying to hack a broadcast or just work all night, there are also unlockable tags for each theme to earn as you play. But this comes across like it's a computer game.
It really does. I'm not quite sure why.
Very interesting. So if you're really interested, there's a Kickstarter that you can find by going over to this article at PC Gamer. Just search for Otherscape character, or you can follow the link. But we need to keep moving because we're turning this show into a 10-hour show. But we have one more article today, and that's all about Bethesda selling 2,000 pieces of Elder Scroll Online servers. It's Elder Scrolls Online's servers. There's a lot of S's dangling here.
Yes.
Bethesda's Elder Scrolls Online turned 10 years old a year ago, but that isn't stopping the publisher from celebrating the anniversary a year later by letting players buy actual pieces of an ESO server for $110. So you think, oh, well, pieces. What does that mean? Like, is it a bunch of servers and you're buying a server? No. I had to take a look at this. Zach Zweisen over at Kotaku.com put this article together. The MMORPG Keepsake is currently available to pre-order for $110. This one is a memory module.
I mean, that's
and
cool
a little plaque.
If you're a big fan of Elder Scrolls.
Correct. I agree. So you can buy a piece of a server for $110. Launched in April of 2014, ESO has received numerous updates and expansions over the year. It's actually free now. On April 15th, Bethesda announced that Elder Scrolls Online 10-year anniversary server Keepsake. This item consists of a decorative framed plaque with a stick of RAM removed from one of ESO's original servers. Bethesda will sell you this actual physical piece of Elder Scrolls Online history for $110. Well, you can pre-order it today, yesterday, or whenever this... When was this article actually published? Tuesday. So this is a weekly show, so we tap from the entire week worth of fire hose. So they say that they've played a lot of ESO, but they're not really a dedicated fan. Still, this is a really neat idea and something more MMOs and online games should do. What they really should do is just open source the operating
Yeah, I agree.
server.
Stop killing games.
That's right. Blizzard did something similar to this apparently back in 2019 as part of a charity auction. They say, and that's also cool. Let people own a piece of the servers that they spent years of their lives on. The only reason I stopped playing WoW was because I went to business school and I was still dedicating like 10 hours a day to play WoW. And I'm like, I gotta
too
stop.
much. Too many things to do and not enough time.
Yeah. Not to mention, other things. But at any rate, and then they changed how the story was written and interaction and stuff like that. It was more grindy and looking for whales, and so I bounced, and I keep buying the expansions because I'm a bonehead. Even early, like I pay the early fee, like the juice tax on there, right? And then I play it on day 5 out of the early 5-day start.
Right.
Because mayoral duties require me to work the previous 4. It all sucks. Never mind. I'm done. I am done with this. But all of this I want. I want this too. $110 want. I think other people would appreciate it more than me. So I probably will just balk at this.
Right.
But thanks, Zach Zweisen over at Kotaku.com for the article. So we are going to, I don't know, pull a memory module out, and that's going to land us back at the Wanted channel over at ohmtown.com. So go over there and become a citizen. Hang out with us here in the chat on Twitch and the YouTube. That would be great. Stay awesome. I'm getting out of here, and I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye, oh great AI from on high? Are you going to try and interrupt? Are you going to just bounce in there? Are you going to say anything? You going to talk?
No, I was waiting for you to be done. Thanks for joining us for this week's Wanted. Stay tuned. We have one more, the continuity report.
Oh, yeah, the continuity report. Hey, that's going to be another hour-long show. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. And just in time for the ads that are about to start. See you soon. That's the same sound I make when I get out of bed.